What's up, Tesla fans? I've been meaning to do this video for quite a while now. This video is going to be about my experience with my Tesla Model 3 that I bought about a year ago. What I like about the car, there are things that I don't like about the car, there are very few, and just my overall experience, how I feel after almost 1 year of buying my Tesla Model 3 and switching from a gas car. So I used to own a Honda Accord before. Switching from a gas car to a pure electric car, what that transition has been like, and what do I expect from the future. We'll close out this video with what I expect from the future, not just from Tesla but also from other electric vehicle manufacturers, and that's how we're gonna go about this video. So let's get started here. I'm just trying to adjust this thing a little bit. So it's been 1 year and I guess 1 week or 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks. So I got this car on May 18th of 2018. At the time I used to own a Honda Accord that I owned for almost seven and a half years. I drove that car 95,000 miles. It was a great car. Was very reliable. Just served the purpose. Got me from point A to point B most of the time without any problems. Had no maintenance issues. Was a great car overall. I highly recommend people, who are still into gas cars, if you really want to buy a gas car, then Honda Accord is a pretty good car to have. It's a little big, so if you want to buy a car for one person, then you can go for a Civic. But for if you want a bigger car, then Honda Accord. But I had that car almost 7.5 years, and I've been following Tesla ever since I graduated from grad school at University of Texas. Been into electric cars since 2010, and I've been wanting to buy a Tesla Model 3, well, not a Model 3 at the time, but Tesla for some time, but I didn't have enough money in my pocket to do that. And then 2015 rolls around, and Tesla makes the announcement that they're gonna finally make their mass market car being the Model 3. So without even looking at the car, I just decided to put it a reservation, which is a pretty smart move, I think, and get myself in the queue, which was actually why I got my car that early in May 2018. I think my car's VIN number is in 17,000, so I'm still one of the early adopters. No, maybe not as early as people who are in tens of thousands of VIN, but still I consider myself to be an early adopter. The best decision ever, folks. I couldn't have made a better decision about buying an electric car. At the time I didn't know whether it would be reliable or not. It's a new manufacturer, relatively new manufacturer in the automobile space, so I did not know what to expect at the end of it, and I'm really happy to report that this car has far exceeded my expectations. This car, I can't tell you enough, and you will, as you listen to this video, you will get why I say this, but has been the best car ever that I've driven. I've been driving cars since 2010, and other than my Honda Accord that I use for personal use, I've driven lots of other cars because my job requires me to travel a lot around the country, and even internationally I travel a little bit. So I've driven a fair amount of cars. So I wouldn't say I know what I'm talking about, but having experienced through rental cars and gas cars, Tesla Model 3 blew all my expectations away. Exceeded my expectations by far, and I've enjoyed every single bit of this car, right from the fact that I do not need to carry a key around. Now I'm thinking about other uses for not carrying a key around, for my home lock and stuff like that. The convenience of this car is cannot be emphasized enough and cannot be talked about enough. The fact that I do not have to carry a key around, the fact that when I walk to the car unlocks itself just by detecting my phone around, is an awesome feature. It's just super convenient, and I think it's the fact that anything that makes your life easy, anything that removes barriers to doing things, removes the friction in doing things in the process, makes that, you know, that piece of technology super convenient to use. And I think that's what in general technology is supposed to do. It's supposed to make our lives easy and more efficient and more convenient as it advances. And Tesla Model 3 does exactly that. As I said, right from the start, getting the car is super convenient. As soon as you get in the car, you do not see those, you know, what's conventional in the automobile industry is to throw a button for every single feature that's out there. I mean, if you want to raise your volume, throw a button for it. If you want to do cruise control, throw a button for it. If you want to set car lengths, set a button. So there's a button for everything, and I think after some point it gets really cluttered and it gets really confusing for folks to use. And you know, given that I've driven so many rental cars, I can tell from experience that every single time I jump in a rental car, it is not a good experience, because it takes me, you know, 15 minutes to kind of figure out where everything is. And I'm kind of a guy who, you know, doesn't just jump in a car and just drive. I want to, you know, have everything set, because on my rental trips I'm driving long distances, and I want all the convenience that the car has to offer right from the get-go. So I want to make sure that I know, you know, how to connect to the Bluetooth and all those things. And this car makes it relatively really easy to do those things, because everything is controlled through this one central touchscreen here, and it's super intuitive. And once you make that setting, you don't have to change that setting ever again. Or maybe I shouldn't say ever again, but you don't really have to change that setting more than once. You make that setting once and you're good to go. So that's amazing about this car. And then the fact that, you know, Elon and the Tesla team chose to make it as minimalist as possible is something I really appreciate. And I think that's what technology is supposed to do. Again, it's supposed to make our lives convenient and easy, and supposed to get out of the way when it's not needed. And that's what this car does. You know, when you don't really need a button for everything. So for example, for your steering wheel, you know, you make that setting once and that's good to go. For your side view mirrors, you make that setting once and then you're good to go. So those kind of things don't need dedicated buttons for them. I think that's the point. The other thing that I really like about this car is navigation. Navigation is something that, you know, as you know, Google Maps rolled around, Apple Maps rolled around, you know, all these third-party pieces of junk that I call, you know, came around to kind of, you know, put it on the windshield of your car or something so that you can see your phone. But having that navigation on this wide screen, and being able to look at it anytime you want, and it's actually in your peripheral vision, so you don't even have to look at it. You know where you're going very easily. Navigation is super fast, it's super quick, it's very responsive. Unlike any other car that I've driven, I don't think there's any other car on the market that does those things or has this super cool navigation, which is I mean, it's a little surprising, you would think. I mean, what incumbent auto manufacturers haven't done a good job at is like integrate software in their car, integrate, you know, the advances of advanced artificial intelligence, like a navigation app. They've not done a good job at it. Recently though, they've started integrating Apple Play into it, but you know, given that their screens are not that great, it comes across as clunky a little bit, I would say. I mean, for all Apple users out there or Android users, I think I would rather have a more seamless integration that I haven't seen so far with auto manufacturers than what they have right now. That I'm not a great fan of, and it also conflicts with their vision of software sometimes. Like, and I was driving a Ford Fusion recently, and you know, Apple CarPlay navigation was in conflict with what Ford was trying to do with its own navigation. Like, it was super confusing because Ford had its own dedicated navigation, and Apple CarPlay was trying to play its own navigation. I mean, I was trying to use Google Maps actually, so that was super confusing and difficult to use. I would say the next feature that I really like is the music system. I mean, this is supposed to be not something that you would want to talk about, because you know, a lot of cars have good stereo, good music system, but this car in particular has great stereo. and the fact that I don't know, maybe it's design of the car and the soundproofing inside and the glass roof that makes it extra special. I'm a big music fan. I mean, I don't. I mean, I hear a lot of pop music, a lot of rock. I also hear a lot of Bollywood songs. I'm into those, so it's great. It's great to enjoy music in your car. And my investment in this car is it stems from the fact that I'm going to use it for a very long time, and I'm spending a lot of time in my car, not when I'm going to work or commuting, but when I'm going on road trips, which I'm a big fan of doing. So I really enjoy the music system. Air conditioning is great. I mean, having this one vent, super cool. I mean, it's a genius idea. I don't know, again, these kind of things, like when you change these kind of features or when you change these kind of amenities in a car, the only way you can do it is to have to step out of the box that you're living in. All these auto manufacturers have been living in this kind of incumbent box, like incremental improvements, and they haven't been making any radical improvements to cars that people get very personal about, and and own, and want to operate and all those things. So the way to think about this is to kind of just delete all your ideas of what a car looks like, and that's what I think the Tesla team has done. They have gone back to the drawing board and start thinking about, okay, inside a car's cabin, what kind of amenities and features would be great to have, and how do we improve those things? So I think the philosophy of making, I guess, radical improvements is what I really appreciate about this car, which I haven't seen other auto manufacturers really do. I think that design philosophy is at the core of Tesla, and that's why I really like those guys, and the thoughts, the little touches that they put in the car are great. Other than air conditioning, we talked about. I mean, this glass roof is amazing. I mean, people thought initially that it would get really hot inside the car. I mean, they were kind of unsure about the glass, the UV tint that Tesla put on, but I think it works great. And with I'll talk about autonomous driving in a minute here, but with autonomous driving, sometimes you can enjoy a glass roof a little bit more than any other car. I wouldn't recommend doing that yet, but I think here and there you can enjoy it. So that kind of drives discussion towards the design of this car, which is great. Like, the car looks amazing from outside. Like, every single person that I've shown this car to, they've fallen in love with it. Like, they fall in love with the design and how it looks, and it's a very pretty car to look at. One critique though, and I think this is just for electric cars in general, trying to make it super slippery to get through, to get through air, basically. The front, because there's no front grille, there's none of that. It's flat nose in front. It's a bug attractor. So I live in Florida, and I'm going on road trips within Florida, and it's humid outside, and the temperature is between 80 and 90 degrees, and when the evening hits, there are all these bugs around, and yeah, it gets a little nasty in the front. With all the bugs, kind of dead bugs in the front of the car. It just increases the cleanup, or the frequency of cleaning your car. It makes a person like me, who doesn't clean their car as often as you should, makes your life a little difficult in a way, and it also looks nasty if you don't clean it. So that's one of the critique that I've heard, but I don't know if there's any good way to get around it. Maybe just install some sort of, I guess, bug repellent, or I don't know. But the design of the car, outside and inside, is great. I would have liked to get white seats instead of black. I mean, I like black seats inside, but I think the white seats that people are getting, they're super cool. So if you haven't made a decision of buying a Tesla yet, I would highly recommend. I mean, I would totally buy the white seat if I could. Actually, black paint with white interior looks good. White paint with black interior, not so great. But I would have gone for white on white. That's what I would have done. But I mean, black is good too. I like it. So interior is good. It's great. It's very roomy. I think there's enough space for maybe 4 people, 5 people will get a little cozy. But the wood touch is great on the front grille, or just below the air vent. It's good. So again, overall the car aesthetics are is something that I really like about this car. They've done a great job at designing it externally and internally. So we talked about design, we talked about music, we talked about navigation. Let's talk a little bit about the efficiency of this car. This car is super efficient. And relative to, I guess, other manufacturers, other EVs, and even relative to Model S and Model X, this car is really efficient. I think on average, after driving it 17,000 miles, my average efficiency has been 245 miles, 45 watt hours per mile, which is great. I mean, I could have gotten a little better, but I sometimes enjoy my car, if you will. Like I speed my, I accelerate, I speed, and that's the other neat thing. I mean, there's so many things to talk about here. But when you are in a traffic situation and you want to get around it or get out of it, the acceleration really helps. The acceleration is not that bad. I mean, people that haven't experienced this kind of acceleration in an electric car have told me that it drives like a race car, which it doesn't. I don't think it does by any means, but still 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds, or now I think it's 5 seconds after the software update. That's great. It accelerates when I need it to accelerate, and it's a real wheel. It's a rear wheel drive, so it's not an all wheel drive. And if I had to go back and I mean, I got my car in May when they're only making rear wheel drives. They hadn't come with the all wheel drive. If I had to go back, or if I was even buying the car right now, I would still get the rear wheel drive. I think because of the range. I mean, with this car, I think out of the box you get 325 miles. I'm at 310 miles. That takes us to battery degradation. So the car battery hasn't degraded. Is actually on track, or I guess per the feedback that I received, it's about 3% on 17,000 miles, which is great. So battery degradation has been doing good. The fact that I've taken this car on some good long road trips. Like I took it all the way up to Asheville, North Carolina. I posted some videos about that. That was a great road trip. And if you want to do road trips on this car, you don't even have to think about it. Like randomly yesterday, I was just planning what if I went to California? What if I went to Canada? I just went on a trip to Banff National Park. I said, what if I can I go to Banff from Florida? And you can totally do that. There are supercharge stations all around that will get you there. And as I'm rambling in a way, I'm kind of talking about all the features as well, if you're paying attention. Like I talked about the battery degradation, I talked about the software update that increased the efficiency of the car. Supercharger will get you anywhere you want. So there is no range anxiety. I've never felt it. There's once when I kind of experienced a little bit of range anxiety when winter hit, because I'm in Florida, so I'm not used to all the winter conditions that people have experienced in the northern United States. So I drove it to Georgia, and all of a sudden the temperature drops, and I wasn't expecting the battery the charge to drop as fast as it was dropping. I learned my lesson there. Now I pay close attention to when the temperature is dropping, and I know what causes a sharp drop in range, and that's temperature is a big role to play in it. The ability of the car to get through the surrounding environment is also, so like when it's raining, the range drops faster. So I've kind of learned a little bit about aerodynamics of this car and how that affects the efficiency of the car. So and since I bought this car, I actually really got into learning more about battery technology, learning more about autonomous technology, learning more about electric cars in general. I'm an electrical engineer by training, so I really like that stuff. And what I found out is that Tesla's cell technology is actually far superior than other cell manufacturers' technology in terms of longevity, in terms of degradation, in terms of reliability. So the fact that Tesla put this much thought into design the car from ground up, I think it starts at the cell level. It starts at the cell and then goes to the the module and the pack. So you kind of see, you know, that thought that was put in to every single thing when this, you know, from the ground up for this car, which I think everyone really appreciates, and that's why this car is the top selling electric car in the world by far, and it's going to blow everyone's mind. I mean, it's been in production for a year and a half roughly, or a little more than that, but like actual volume production almost a year now. This car is going to do great, and I think all the naysayers out there, everyone who's been shorting Tesla stocks or stock are are in for some burn. I think they're in for some surprises because of this car. I mean, I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't talk a lot about Tesla stock on this video. I'll have a separate video about that and my thoughts on you know, what Tesla stock is doing right now and what we'll do in the future, my personal opinion. But so far, 17,000 miles, 1 year, amazing car, great buy. I am not even looking back. I actually, when I bought this car, I only had autopilot, so that would mean it would auto steer on the highway, and actually I had enhanced autopilot, so I had more than autopilot, which is being advertised right now as autopilot. I had enhanced version of it, which meant auto steer on the freeway, ability to lane change, ability to auto park, and some of the advanced features. Since then, I've also upgraded when, you know, when Elon and the Tesla team were kind of changing the pricing. I took advantage of that and got full self-driving for $2,000, which I'm eagerly waiting to get my hands on. I'm eagerly waiting for the Smart Summon, which according to Tesla, you can summon your car within 150 feet, and, you know, if it's parked somewhere, it'll come and pick you up, which is mind-blowing. So I can't wait for that. And let's talk about autonomous technology a little bit with Tesla and what my experience has been so far. It's been, I would say, it hasn't been amazing. I think it's been pretty good. You know, autopilot has definitely has, you know, is on the right track. I think it does a great job in most of the instances. In some instances, a little jittery, and that's one of the critique I have on this car is, so autopilot is not as, I guess, is not as perfected as it should have been out of the box, and I think there is a pretty good reason for it. So people, and maybe, you know, Tesla should talk about a little this more, and they do not, which is a problem. Is the fact that, so autopilot is in training, it's in beta mode. So they tell you that's in beta mode, but what they do not tell you is, or they should emphasize even more and talk about this even more, is that it's a software in training. So it's a neural net that Tesla users are training, and when any piece of software is in training mode, you got to pay attention. I mean, they talk about that you got to pay attention, but what they don't talk about is the fact that you are training a piece of software. So it's more than paying attention. You have to treat it as like a baby that's learning how to drive. So when you have that kind of mindset that you're training a baby, there is this extra care that goes into it, that not only, you know, caring about the baby learning how to drive, but also about yourself, and not expecting, you know, a lot of ridiculous you know, stuff out of it. So I think having that kind of philosophy and mentality when you drive your car, when you drive your Tesla, will really help you enjoy it even more and actually not get into accidents. So that's how I look at it. So when I put my car on autopilot, I'm super attentive, I'm paying attention to the road. I'm actually very curious on how the car, you know, reacts to certain situations. You know, that basically what Elon calls edge cases, and the car is going to learn from those edge cases. And what's great about this car is the fact that the neural net is always learning, and our job, I guess, as early adopters, Tesla owners, is to enjoy autopilot, but like, you know, in a cautious way, because at the end of the day, you're training a piece of software, and it's only going to get better. And while it gets better, you got to pay attention, you got to be safe. So I think the message that has to be put out there, and I think more people should do it, and I think some people have done that, but it doesn't come across like that. It doesn't come across like, you know, you're kind of a parent who's teaching a baby how to drive, or how to not drive, who's teaching a baby how to walk. So it's something like that. And if you have that kind of a, you know, that kind of a mindset, it'll really help you, and you'll actually enjoy autopilot. I've loved it so far. There have been few instances where I was like a little scared, like, because it will randomly like brake on the freeway, and that's scary. But I was paying attention, so, you know, everything worked out. But on long distance road trips, it is an amazing piece of software to have, to have your hands on. And when I took my car to Asheville, North Carolina, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It takes out a lot of stress of driving, and in a good way. I'm not stressed about like the errors that the software is going to make. I'm not stressed about like just watching the little road like for miles and miles and miles. That kind of is refreshing a little bit. It keeps you awake. You can enjoy other stuff. You can enjoy the music. You can think about different things and don't have to pay a lot of attention to the road. You do have to pay attention. You do have to be you're still responsible for driving the car. The software is not there yet. Having said that, I'm super excited and I'm looking forward to full self driving. I mean, Elon says that it'll be there by the end of the year, but we'll see. I think on Elon time it'll be here by the end of the year. I think it'll really be here maybe next year, end of next year, or maybe the year after. So we'll see. But I'm super excited about all the features, the software updates that are coming through. And that's the other thing about this car is like it updates. It updates itself. It keeps getting better. Like since I bought this car, they've added so many features. They've added Sentry mode. They've added dash cam. They've improved the efficiency of the battery, so I'm getting more range out of it. They've increased the speed of the car. They've added all these games. They've added all these fun things. They've added they keep updating the maps. They added navigate on autopilot. All these things I didn't have when I bought the car. So these are all bonus features that I'm like still kind of getting, which you don't get in any other car, frankly, out there. I think Volvo announced their car that's going to have something similar where you're going to get some software updates. But frankly, I mean, there's no other car out there that does what Tesla does with the treatment of software. So software updates are great. That enhances your driving experience by quite a lot. But I think this video is getting a little longer. I mean, it's getting around 30 minutes. I think I'll stop around 30 minutes. I think it's too long of a video to post. I don't pay attention to anyone's YouTube video, upwards of maybe 15 minutes. But I think I'll probably do it in two parts. This is the first part. A lot of rambling, if you will, but I hope that has been helpful. My share, and this is by design. I wanted this to be a ramble. I don't wanted this for you to kind of for you to feel like this is a pretty fair and accurate experience of accurate description of my experience of owning a Tesla Model 3. If you're on the edge, if you're on the fence, not the edge. Sorry, don't be on the edge. If you're on the fence, if you're on the fence of this, between deciding whether you want to buy this car or you want to wait out a little bit more for some other manufacturers to come with other cars, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I don't think any of the manufacturers are even getting close to this car. So I would say just go ahead and buy this car. I mean, maybe in 4 or 5 years you might have a manufacturer who might get close to competing, but then Tesla is just so far has gone so far with their cars that in 5 years will have much better versions. So every other manufacturer is lagging behind. They don't even come close in terms of design, in terms of range, in terms of the features of the car. So I would say, don't, if you're buying a car, just put your money in a car that will keep getting better. That is the best car right now on the market, by far, and there's no other car that is even going to come close. So if you're going to buy an electric car, it doesn't even make sense to buy any other electric car, in my opinion. So just go ahead and press that button and buy this car, and I'll also post my my referral code along with this video. So feel free to use my referral code. You'll get, I think, 1,000 miles of supercharging for free. I'll also get 1,000 miles of supercharging for free, and we all will benefit from it. So again, referral code. Use my referral code, which I'll post with the video. And until next time, keep watching my videos. I'll do more videos. Sorry for the delay here. I haven't done a video in a while, but I'll be more regular than this. I'll talk about Tesla. I'll talk about electric cars. I'll talk about battery technology. I'll talk about autonomous technology, and we'll learn together. I'm actually on the course of learning about this technology. I'm super excited about it, and I hope that you are too. So until next time, be safe on the road, guys.